Hello guys, it's the Unclear 999. Today's video is about greed. Greed, in its many forms, has long been a part of human behavior, an insatiable desire for more wealth, power, status, or material possessions. But the question of why we are greedy reaches deep into our psychological, cultural, and evolutionary roots. At its core, greed often stems from fear. Fear of scarcity, of loss, of being left behind or forgotten. Evolutionarily, our ancestors had to compete for limited shelter in order to survive, and those who hoarded or secured more than others were often better equipped to ensure their lineage. That ancient wiring, once necessary, still pulses through our modern brains, even though the context has changed. Today, most people in developed societies aren't hunting for food or building fires to survive. Instead, they compete for money, luxury, influence, and social validation. Capitalism, while brilliant in driving innovation and progress, often fuels this competitive instinct by tying our worth to our productivity, our net worth, and the things we own. The constant bombardment of advertising and social media reinforces a narrative that happiness is just one purchase away, that someone always has more than you, and that you're failing if you aren't rising, growing, and consuming at every turn. This illusion of lack, fueled by comparison and consumerism, feeds our greed like oxygen to fire. But greed isn't just about money. It seeps into how we use our time, how we treat others, and how we prioritize ourselves. It's in the employee who steps on coworkers to climb the corporate ladder, in the executive who cuts corners for bigger bonuses, and in nations that exploit others for resources while ignoring suffering. Greed grows in the soil of insecurity. When people don't feel seen, safe, or valued, they often seek excess as a shield, believing that having more will finally fill the emptiness inside. Ironically, it never does. Greed creates a paradox. The more we chase, the emptier we feel. It distorts our relationships, reducing others to stepping stones or transactions, and it corrodes communities by fostering inequality, resentment, and mistrust. We see this clearly in the widening wealth gap around the world, where a small percentage hoards more than they could spend in 10 lifetimes, while millions struggle to meet basic needs. Yet society often celebrates the greedy, calling them ambitious, successful, or visionary, failing to question the moral cost of their accumulation. Ultimately, our greed reflects a deeper spiritual void, a collective misunderstanding of what it means to live a meaningful life. When fulfillment is replaced with consumption, when purpose is traded for possessions, and when kindness is sacrificed for competition, greed thrives. To overcome it, we must first recognize its presence within ourselves, how it shows up in envy, entitlement, hoarding, or the desire to win at any cost. It requires a shift in mindset, from scarcity to abundance, from self-interest to shared wealth. It's about realizing that true wealth isn't in what we own, but in what we give, build, and leave behind. Greed may be part of our evolutionary past, but compassion, empathy, and generosity are what define the best of our humanity. And in choosing those values over endless accumulation, we don't lose power, we reclaim it. Yet the battle against greed is not a simple one. It is deeply woven into the systems and narratives we live by. From the time we're children, we are conditioned to believe that more is better. More toys, more likes, more followers, more money, more recognition. Our schools reward high achievement but rarely teach contentment. Our media idolizes billionaires and celebrities, showcasing lifestyles of extravagance, while rarely asking how those riches were earned or at whose expense. In such a culture, even acts of generosity can become performative, done for status rather than sincerity. This normalization of greed desensitizes us to its impact. Ecosystems destroyed for profit, workers exploited for productivity, and families torn apart by the relentless pursuit of wealth. The result is a society where people feel pressured to accumulate, not because they need more, but because they fear being seen as less. Greed thrives in comparison. When our self-worth hinges on outdoing others, no amount is ever enough. On a personal level, unchecked greed erodes our inner peace. It creates constant anxiety about money, image, and success, because it builds our sense of security on external, ever-shifting foundations. Even those who have made it often remain trapped in the same mindset, always needing to go further, higher, richer. This endless chase leads to burnout, broken relationships, and, ironically, emptiness. People lose sight of their original dreams and values, becoming prisoners of their ambition. Greed disconnects us not only from others but from ourselves. It makes us forget that we are more than our possessions, our bank accounts, or our resumes. And yet, when people experience tragedy or major life changes, loss of a loved one, serious illness, near-death experiences, many come to the same conclusion: that love, presence, and purpose matter far more than anything money can buy. But it's not all doom. The human spirit is capable of great transformation. Greed, though powerful, can be unlearned. It begins with awareness, recognizing the ways in which we allowed materialism or ego to guide our decisions. It continues with gratitude, learning to appreciate what we already have instead of obsessing over what we don't. And it grows through service, shifting from asking what can I get to what can I give. People across the world are awakening to this truth, building movements rooted in fairness, sustainability, and compassion. From ethical businesses that prioritize people over profits, to individuals simplifying their lives to focus on connection and purpose, a quiet revolution is underway. We're beginning to see that the joy of sharing, the peace of enough, and the beauty of humility offer a far deeper fulfillment than greed ever could. Ultimately, the question is not whether greed exists, it does, but whether we allow it to rule us. We can choose to live differently. We can teach our children that generosity is strength, not weakness. We can support leaders and policies that reflect shared prosperity instead of personal gain. And we can remember, again and again, that the best things in life, laughter, meaning, belonging, are never for sale. They are earned through how we treat others, how we steward the world, and how honestly we live. To break free from greed is not to abandon ambition, it's to redefine it. It's to pursue a life of depth rather than excess, of impact rather than accumulation. In doing so, we not only heal ourselves, we help heal the world.